We are the reckless, we are the wild youth, creating visions of our future truth. And one of us will die before he gets there. And if you're still bleeding, you're the lucky ones. 'Cause most of us, our feelings, they are dead and they are gone. We're setting fire to our inside for fun, collecting names of the lovers that went wrong, the lovers that went wrong. And you caused it. You caused it. You caused it.
Well, hey there, everyone. That was a perfect time for Cog to stop singing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the happy hour. How are you guys in the chat doing tonight? YouTube is giving you a weird message. Just close that out. And as ever, it wouldn't be a happy hour with my co-host, Kevin, who I hope has not just dropped out. Oh, no.
No, I'm here. But you were still talking, so I thought, well, is she going to say something else? Is she going to big me up? No, you were just say the name. Okay, cool.
My awesome co-host, who I think is over the not contagious, impronounceable virus that's going around, just normal
Mostly. Yeah, coronavirus. Although my cat did Chopsy, bless him, came in yesterday, sneezed on my arm, and then just walked out. And I thought, I mean, I don't really know how to take that. That could be good in cat talk, I don't know. But also, I just thought to myself, have I just been suicide sneezed now? Is that how that works? I don't know.
Does he often do that? Just like walk into the room and then meow at you?
Well,
he had just
come back from China. So I was like, well, that's
rude.
Very strange. Yeah.
Quite rude.
I don't know how he got out. But, what else? He moves in mysterious ways.
Clearly. He clearly does. Yeah. So, well, that was the most exciting thing, honestly, that I've heard today. No, that's not entirely true. There's an impeachment trial going on. But at least it was entertaining. So, thanks for that.
It was probably the cutest thing.
Sneezing, cat sneezes? I mean, did you leave your arm wet?
No, I was already going to go into the shower, but I went into the shower and cleaned myself because I had cat phlegm on me.
Well, okay, so he actually left. He sneezed properly on you. You were damp afterwards.
It was more of a fine mist on the arm. It wasn't like a big snotty flu sneeze or something that you have to wipe, like you have to fucking scrape out with gunge or whatever. Like it was a sneezy mist on my arm, and I thought that's not nice.
I'm particularly amused by the idea of him just sort of coming in, lying down by you, sneezing, and being like, well, I can't stay around here. It's disgusting. And then
well, no, he didn't even lie down. He just walked up to me, and I thought, oh, he wants some fuss. He sneezed on my arm, and then looked at me and just went, oh, and then just strolled off. Like,
is it Kleenex? Like your tissue?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll sneeze on you. You're welcome, human. If you need me, I'm going to be sleeping for the next 12 fucking hours. Anyway.
Where's my food? I want it ready when I get up.
Exactly, yeah.
Have it in my bowl.
Exactly. Food on the table, otherwise you get the fucking back of my paw.
And another sneeze, this time in your mouth when you're sleeping.
Rory cats have sneezed on my face before.
Yeah?
That happened when he was a kitten. The first couple of weeks he was with me, and he was on the cushion next to me, and then just right in my face. Thanks. Beautiful. My dad, actually, genuinely true, my dad's such a weird little chap. I've told you this before, and he doesn't understand what we do here on the YouTube. So He literally asks me, how's the internet going? Could he be more boomer? Anyway.
Speaking of your dad.
One of his cats sneezed into his mouth, and he was convinced he'd got cat flu for like weeks. And I was like, I don't even know if that's a real thing. Apparently, look, he sleeps with the cat would sleep on his chest.
Yeah.
Like face to face, basically. And he yawned, and the cat sneezed right into his mouth. Which is amazing.
Wow. Nothing but nut.
Yeah. Also, another one. Oh, God. Why am I getting on these stuff? Because he's not listening. Definitely. His dog used... Oh, God. This is a weird combination of things. They were having problems with the plumbing in the house. So one night he went for a piss, forgot, and thought, "Oh shit, I can't flush it." Never mind. The dog had gone in and like drank some of the piss clearly from the toilet, because that's what dogs do.
Ew.
And then went and was like licking his face, and he smelled piss, and he was like, "Oh, you dirty fucker!" Oh. So sort of dog mouthed his own piss in his face, which I can't tell you. I nearly died of laughter. Nearly. I luckily survived, but I was in bits. Yeah.
Oh. Now, I had a lovely little West Highland Terrier named Bella, and we would take her for a walk every day unless it was pouring down rain all day, because she was a Westie and she was very demanding. She was lovely, but she had a personality and a will, which I liked about her. But one of the things she loved because, we lived in Wivenhoe, which is like this little village outside of Colchester. So very rural and, very small, thin pavements and stuff. Anyway, we'd go out after a rain when it was sunny, and worms that were trying to cross the sidewalk in America, pavement in the UK, would get stuck, and then they'd just roast and they turn into like brown curls of whatever. She thought those were French fries. She thought those were the best thing in the world. When she saw them on the sidewalk, she would beeline for them and eat them off the cement. And then she'd want to kiss me. I'd be like, "Get the fuck out. You didn't know. I know where your mouth's been. I just taken you for a walk. I watched you." But also, by the way, Orion in the chat says, Kevin and Kristi, I have had both cats and dogs do the same thing. The funniest one was when a Chihuahua knocked itself over sneezing.
I like watching. Well, Chops does it a bit as well, but Rory Cats will often run into things because he's an idiot. So he'll run in head first into things and then just carry on like that's what I meant to do. It's all good. Like, it's just they're stupid and beautiful, and I would literally kill every person in the world. I wouldn't really, but if you touch my cats, and if it's a nice touching, that's fine. But if it's a bad touching, I'll kill you.
No bad touching.
So
I need an adult.
No bad touching.
I need an adult.
No, not like that. You have to take it to a weird place. That would include bad. You know what I mean? Anyway, don't sexually or non-sexually harass my cats.
Well, I thought when bad touching, that's what it was, bad touching. It's like, that's why you were like getting all territorial.
If you've gotten consent from either or both of them for the bad touching, then fine.
If they start the bad touching and then you're just consenting to being involved, like you don't do anything.
No. They're well out of my league. Why would they stoop? No, don't be silly.
You like lick your feet.
They can do better than me. They can do better. Let's just be honest.
You don't have enough self-respect for bestiality. Is that what you're saying?
No. I didn't say that. No, I said just
they
these particular cats are too beautiful.
Okay.
I could probably pull like a fucking minging cat or something, but like two beautiful cats, I got no chance.
All right. This is a weird area we've gone to.
10 points, definitely.
All right. I think we've done the obligatory nonsense for the first 10 minutes of the show. Yeah.
The obligatory jokes about fucking animals. Yay.
Man.
Anyway.
So, speaking of animals, we can talk about the animal in the White House. Yay.
Yes. But anyway, enough about Melania.
Yeah, so on the show, our thoughts are to talk about the Trump stuff, and then Sargon and Vaush debated again. And then there's also been some kind of post-Rogan kick-up on Twitter that we might have a chance, we might get to. So that's the lineup for the night. I'm trying to be slightly more professional with our shows and actually say what our content is going to be, and then we'll see what happens.
No, Kristi. You are putting in a reasonable amount of effort. I will never do that. So when you say we're trying to do something here,
no, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Don't involve me in your professionalism, Jesus.
No worries. Oh, I'm almost done with my 6-page script on copyright law, by the way.
That is, I mean, Kristi, we talk some boring shit on this show, but I'm not going there. Fucking hell.
I've become like a paralegal for copyright law in some instances. Very limited instances.
I can't imagine a more boring thing. Copyright law. Fucking hell.
Well, Oh my gosh, come on! You're
June,
a YouTube
Jesus.
creator. You deal with it literally every day. Copyright law is part of the reason why you can use other people's material.
And I think all copyright laws should be done away with because it annoys me. Don't even get me started on the BBC again. I swear to God.
Well, what does the BBC have to do with
for that fucking
copyright?
shit.
This is something completely different. I don't know what left turn you've taken.
No, I've told this before, haven't I? I can't use bits from Parliament necessarily because it's it has to be done fair use and stuff. And I'm like, I've paid for that twice. My taxes pay for the fucking Parliament and the TV licence pays for the BBC. So I paid for it twice and I can't even use it.
Why don't you just appeal with a fair use exemption?
Well, I do, and it often does. Although once I had a weird, I don't even know what the company was called, but it was like a Pakistani broadcasting company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, content ID me for a thing from Parliament. I was like, it's not
Fuck
even the right country. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I've had that when I've used...
And thankfully YouTube, but it took 2 weeks, by which time...
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've had an instance where I used Creative Commons... like attribution only instrumentals from like Bach or something, and other orchestras will come in and try to claim it. They're like, no, that's not your performance. And then in my appeal, I'll actually say, here's the website where I got it from, and here's a hyperlink to the file itself. You can compare it. I always win, obviously. I mean, it sucks because it basically takes 2 weeks and you get all of your views in the first 3 days, mostly. So you lose money, but you don't have to worry about that anymore anyway. You're free of the capitalist concerns.
It shouldn't have reminded me of it, but when you said always win, it reminded me of Alan Partridge saying, and needless to say, I had the last laugh. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, har. I bounced back, Kevin. I bounced back.
You did. Textbook.
Link's Java.
Jurassic Park.
You just have to say things in yeah. You like the Link's Java?
Back of the net.
Yes,
I do actually. Yeah, anyway, people who haven't watched that show are just like, they're just saying words. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Entertaining each other with phrases. Smell my cheese.
Yeah.
Monkey tennis.
No. Smell my cheese, you mother. Is the exact phrase.
Monkey tennis.
Monkey tennis.
All right.
And the guy who plays David Hayes there, by the way, the guy who's trying to impress David Schneider, is very good on Twitter as a anti-Brexit person.
Okay, I should follow him.
Bizarrely, he's an actor, but there we go.
Okay, we should get back to impeachment. But this was lovely. This is wonderful.
Fuck that noise. They're still doing it. Who cares?
Yeah, I was watching.
I'm literally watching Zoe Lofgren, whose name I now know because it's literally on the screen 10 feet away from me. Yeah, the question at the moment is, does high crimes and misdemeanors require violation of US criminal code, or is it a breach of public trust sufficient? And I don't know what she's saying because I've got it on mute obviously, because I'm trying to listen to
me.
Another
ideally
delightful American.
Oh, thank you. Yes, so yeah, it is still going on. And I don't know about you, but I only watched like the first 40 minutes of it because then I had to get ready for the disaster that was our attempt at using Zoom. And then quickly set up a Hangout.
I had it on literally until I was about to join the Hangout. I had the volume on, so I've listened to basically all of it up until 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, it's all pretty formulaic, really. I think the one question you missed, which you might have enjoyed, was the Senator Graham, our friend who Lev Parnas is about to fucking rinse.
Leningrad Lindsay.
We'll possibly get onto in a second. Yes, although that's literally not what it's called anymore, but okay.
But it's I believe
it's St. Petersburg.
Alliteration? Is that the right word?
It is alliteration, but like I say, the city doesn't exist anymore, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, but Americans don't know that.
Litovsk? That's a city in Russia.
Litovsk?
You could have gone with Litovsk.
No.
That's a city in Russia, so you could have had Litovsk.
Wow.
Litovsk.
You really, I don't even know, you're obviously sarcastically referencing American geography knowledge at this point. You're just being sarcastic, so
no, I'm just trying as if I just got jogged on by a fucking American, Jesus. Anyway, jogged on, whatever.
That sounds more fun than it is.
Yeah.
How was your night?
Absolutely.
Well, you
Anyway.
know, I got
But if you've
jogged
got any
on.
more funny alliterative cities with Lindsey Graham's name, please fucking keep them to yourself. It's boring. Anyway, Lindsey Graham asked, because what had happened, which I would have expected, was that all of the Republicans were going to ask Trump's team questions so that they get the floor, and all the Democrats were going to ask the House managers so that they got the floor, and they wouldn't ask across the floor at all because it's a pointless endeavour, really. At the heart of it, we know it's not going to actually pass. But Graham asked the House managers a hypothetical. It's very, very clever. The man's so clever. He asked that, would Barack Obama have been okay if he'd had significant suspicions to have investigated Mitt Romney and his family?
Well, can I answer that before you tell me what Schiff presumably said? Do you mind?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. My answer would be, well, if that was the case, I would report it to the appropriate, the president should report it to the appropriate agencies and not have his personal attorney look into it. So I don't see how these are possibly comparable hypotheticals.
It's almost as if you literally read what he'd said in response, because he literally said exactly that, which is unsurprising considering that's literally the legal way you're supposed to approach those issues.
Yeah.
You can investigate any American citizen if there is significant suspicion that they may have committed a crime.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's of course fine, but you can't do that via weird back channels involving incredibly corrupt people and Ukrainian mental cases.
No, you get the Department of State and Department of Justice and the national security people on board, and it becomes official U.S. policy. Like it was with the corruption in Ukraine under Obama when Vice President Biden was a spokesperson for U.S. foreign policy. Yeah. So, I mean, Adam Schiff and I are like on a plane together. Like, if we met for drinks, I'm just saying, it might end up in a hotel room.
Man's politics. Yeah, well, you get to the back of the fucking queue. Even though I don't necessarily like his politics all that much, I want he can have my babies.
Yeah.
By which I mean my seed.
Your seed or your sea? Your ocean?
Seed.
Okay, I didn't hear the D.
No, not my sea. I don't have a sea.
Well,
how rich do you think I am, Kristi? That I own fucking large bodies of water.
But you dropped the D, at least in my ear. The D went nowhere. It was just C. Maybe you swallowed it.
Yeah, Kristi. Occasionally, when it suits me, I will drop the D. Absolutely.
Oh, I walked into that one. Wow, my jaw. You got me. Like a total left hook there. I did not see that coming.
Anyway. Exactly, you walked onto that little jab.
I did. So I guess we should talk about the light-up, which is the big bombshell about Bolton so far this week.
Yeah, because let's basically just skip the days of the Trump team talking shit, because you already know. We've discussed exactly what they were going to say. Fucking Schiff already told you what he was going to say, so yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had the whole revelation about John Bolton, and then it became a will he, won't he? Will they, won't they? I mean, he will, but they won't, I guess. And yeah, it's amazing to me. I mean, Nancy Pelosi looks like she's one vote away from getting her witnesses. And the reason why... Yeah, go ahead.
According to quote-unquote sources, McConnell reckons he doesn't have the votes.
He doesn't have the votes to not call them, but I think it takes...
To block... to block witnesses. Obviously, he has the two-thirds isn't going to be reached. But I mean, look, in terms of stopping witnesses, he thinks he doesn't have the votes.
Honestly, at this point, getting Bolton to testify would be a victory for the Democrats. Because even if they vote to acquit... the truth will be out there and they'll have to vote against it. So, I mean...
And if I were them, a little novelty that I became aware of, they can issue an article of censure, which I would definitely get them to vote on.
Yeah, I mean, that has been... I heard that discussed on a newscast, but not seriously by any senators. I don't think the Republicans are going to even censure. Anyway. If they're not going to...
Well, yeah, but I mean, get them on the record. Say,
no, fair
even though
enough.
This is entirely fucking true. And it's not as if fucking old Turtle Man is actually going to go forward with any legislation before the election. So, fuck it. What's the Senate got to do otherwise? But they're arguing, oh, you're taking up vital Senate time. What the fuck? sitting on $1 million bills.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere with it, so the Senate's got nothing to do. You might as well fucking just go home.
Well, that would Mitch would.
Yeah,
well, no, he's got judges to push through. Extremist people in their 30s who are incompetent and unqualified.
Well, yeah,
but
yeah. Which basically describes me. But there we go.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got some breaking news in the chat. But so So the story behind this. Let's get the backstory. Bolton submitted a copy of his manuscript. Now he also sent a letter giving them 30 days to look at it, and he also said, "I know there's nothing classified in this because I've written other books in the past, and they've all been fine. So I know how to take out classified stuff, and I'm going to give you 30 days to look at it. Otherwise, I'm going to publish it." Sorry, I needed a drink there. And that's pretty much the impression of the letter that I got. Well, then the White House had a copy of this manuscript, and what seems to have happened is that multiple copies of the manuscript were produced and floating around the White House. So Trump's legal team probably saw this. Trump probably saw this. And then, and I don't know who it was, somebody, it looks like they didn't give the manuscript to the New York Times? Washington Post. I forget who it was that broke the story. Maybe it was the New York Times. I should know that, but I've forgotten. There's so many facts to keep track of here. Someone in the chat will fact check me, I'm sure.
Is it the failing New York Times or the failing Washington Post?
Yeah, it's one of those two. It's one of those two. It seems like what they had was sort of pictures of pages. So maybe the person themselves didn't have a copy, but they were able to get their hands on for a little while, and there were important sections that had been communicated. And yeah, it's been it was given as a courtesy for the review, but Ramon in the chat, was it? Or Jennifer? No, it was Faye Queen. Sorry, Corey. Sorry about that. I was looking for the name. In case anyone hasn't heard, the White House is now claiming Bolton's book is classified and can't be published or produced. So anyway, this book was submitted. Copies were made. Somebody in the White House leaked this, and nobody's really talking about. Trump's not freaking out about the leaks, which makes me like I don't understand that, because he used to complain about leaks all the time. But anyway.
I think he's just gotten used to it. That his White House is like a fucking sieve.
Maybe. Yeah. But Bolton said it wasn't him, and the publisher said it wasn't them, because they've had the manuscript for ages, and it only came out after it went to the White House, you know?
And why would a publisher want all this kind of high-profile press about a book that's about to come out? I mean, that would be... Definitely, there's no vested interest in anyone doing that. It's definitely not them.
Yes, although, I mean, at this point, nobody in the White House, it looks, everyone's pointing to the White House, including the reporters who are citing their sources. So it's not the publisher, I don't think. I think, well, not that they're citing their sources.
Maybe the publisher knows people in the White House, you know.
Well, possibly. Yeah, well, I guess we won't. Anyway, moving on. The leaks got out there, I guess. So how they got out there, I guess we can speculate. But in it, Bolton apparently describes being in a meeting where Trump specifically says they're going to withhold the military aid up for Ukraine until they announce investigations or something, you know, that basically was the core of the quid pro quo currently under investigation. That just was like a bombshell going off. Everyone just, it brought everything to a halt. The Dems started immediately saying, this is why we need witnesses. Republicans stopped talking. Quite a few of them stopped talking. Maybe Mitt Romney eventually and Susan Collins came out, but Lindsey Graham just started throwing out all kinds of ridiculous things. Other people were starting to float ideas. Like the pressure on Senate Republicans to listen to Bolton was immense, and you could tell by the way that Mitch McConnell doesn't have the votes to not have witnesses at the moment. We'll see how it goes. John Kelly, that's his name, former White House chief of staff, went out and said publicly, I think John Bolton is telling the truth.
Yeah. And not just that, but you can tell the Trump team did exactly what they always do. They say, there's nothing new in this. It's absolutely old news. Who cares? But also then threatened him and have now seemingly said, you can't publish this.
Yeah. There's also interesting.
If it's all out there, why do you care?
Yeah.
Why is it It's almost as if you're full of shit, Trump.
2 points. One, the Senate Republicans said, okay, well, we won't have Bolton as one of them said, let's not have Bolton as a witness, but we'll put the manuscript in a skiff in a classified setting, and senators can go and read the book.
What?
Yeah.
We're going to put hang on. Is this now a book? this is ironic, right? Because Bolton's obviously most famous for lying about like weapons of mass destruction, but it appears that they think that his book is a weapon of mass destruction or something because they can only be read in a secret room. What?
The book that people can currently buy on Amazon pre-delivered for its release date in March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's already in pre-release, there are loads of like copies like being printed basically. So
well, there certainly are at the White House.
It's going to get out there.
Another thing revealed that was in the manuscript, which has not gotten a lot of attention because of all the impeachment coverage sucking up all of the oxygen, but apparently John Bolton details a discussion he had with William Barr, expressing concern that Trump was making certain decisions using the Justice Department to benefit Turkey and one other country, I can't remember which one it was, that Bolton thought was not in the national interest.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other...
There must be borne in mind that John Bolton is still a far-right piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no...
But he's not making stuff up and putting it in a book.
No, I don't think...
His credibility and his judgment in terms of policy are here separate. I think we...
Yes, indeed so. But I just meant in general, let's not laud the guy. He's still garbage. So what he thinks is in the national interest... Well, I don't really fucking care what he thinks.
No, but
he thought invading Iraq was in the national interest.
Right, but here's the thing. What it means is John Bolton might have personal knowledge of other corrupt practices that he saw Trump engaging with to the point where he raised it with the Attorney General. That's the point. That absolutely. Once we start getting into the records and looking through when Trump is out of the White House, if they don't burn all the records, a whole lot of dodgy stuff might come to light that is criminal. And John Bolton might know about that now. And he could maybe testify about that.
Well, I'm certain he will. I've said before that once the classified documents get out there in 10, 20, 30 years' time, we'll find out all of the horrible fucking skeletons in the closet, and there'll be lots of them. But Trump's reaction to it again, there's nothing new in this book. It's not bothering him in the slightest. But he said that if he'd listened to John Bolton's advice, would be on World War VI.
Yes, yeah. Oh, and he's getting dragged over at Fox News. Oh my gosh, they're just like, they've got a big old mud puddle and John Bolton's effigy, and they are just calling him deep state and, in league with the liberal Democrats.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I mean, if you listen to him, he'd probably be on more than World War VI at this point, because he's a warmongering piece of shit. But the point is, Donald, you appointed him to that position. Yeah. He wasn't like, it's not like he was there and you had to deal with it. You personally handpicked and appointed him to that position. So you're saying that basically your judgment is so shit that you have endangered the American people by electing someone who is dangerous. Yeah. Or choosing someone who's dangerous to a very significant position. Yep. Which I agree with him on that because he has. But that's on you still, Donald. And exactly. One manuscript, and John Bolton has gone from hero of the right, fucking lauded and praised and all the rest of it, to fucking libtard, cock. You're in league with the devil. Yeah, for wanting to explain as an eyewitness what he observed. I mean, this is like Democrats aren't running out there saying, "Oh my gosh, we have to hear from John Bolton because he's such a great guy." They're like, he's a material witness. He's Trump's guy, and he has information. He's not a Democratic, or he's not someone called by the Democrats here. And it would be perfect. It would be amazing for me to see John Bolton potentially take Trump down in the 2020 election. Yeah. By the way, it would be perfect because he's so far right that if, say, it's Bernie or whoever, basically on the Democratic side, to see someone like that get elected because of John Bolton, would annoy John Bolton enormously, and that just gives me a slight erection. And our basically our sort of Alexa of YouTube, our chat. No, not you, Alexa. The chat here, we got Orion had China. That was the other country Trump was giving. China. Yeah. Some sort of not in the national interest, other motivated deals
for. So, oh, your cat's got a case of the
Well, I mean,
zoomies. I love that. So much fun.
He had to pay the Chinese back for all those exemptions they gave to his daughter's handbag.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think so. Yeah.
Quid pro and quo.
What? What was pro and whoa?
Quid pro quo.
Oh, quid pro quo. You dropped out for a second, so all I heard was you would go, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yes, the quo was dropped out. Sorry, Jennifer's cat has a case of the zoomies, which is cute.
Yeah. They're amazing when they do that. I don't know why they do that. Yeah.
So
often when I'm asleep.
I did want to say, in terms of watching the house managers perform again today, when they got up there, and of course, when they get up there, they have done some preparatory work, right? They're going to have a general go at things they think they're going to be asked questions about, not just from their side, but try to anticipate, a couple things that the Republicans might ask them about, weaknesses or things they can counter with.
Yeah.
But the way that they were dropping like video clips and had pre-prepared PowerPoint slides with like multiple points down, I was like, holy fucking shit. Because that stuff takes time. You have to think about it, like you have to come up with it, then you have to organize it and put it in an orderly manner, then you've got to like make sure it's proofread and centered and everything is professional. And they've had how many...
So, I mean, like, it's not... I don't think Schiff was literally there.
No. But still, the amount of human effort and professionalism collectively that the Democrats are putting on display is like worthy of, a top-notch state attorney general's office. It's just all the kind of professionalism that you would want in the people that you pay that much out of your tax money to do justice for you, to be that good at their jobs. Yeah. I just wanted to tip my cap to them. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I've been very impressed with them. Yeah, although it's been interesting actually from the other side that they've allowed old fucking Sloth out of his cave. Philbin's had quite a go today, and he's shit. Like he's just a lump of person. Like there's nothing to him. There's no edge to grab onto at all. He's just a round sphere of person, featureless, boring, and shit. So I don't know why. I mean, he's probably not as bad as I know, but just because of the first day's performance, oh god, why would you let this person talk? He's awful. Anyway,
and
but so he's pretty boring.
Yes, quite. Sorry. I just want to thank the people in the chat who are trying to get my Echo to play Despacito or order 1,000 smart lights with overnight delivery. Oh, they're talking about stuff for my Dot, the Echo Dot, also known as Alexa. No, not you. Oh, damn it.
Alexa, lime green dildo.
Now she's talking at me. I can't hear her. Anyway, so is there anything more on the impeachment? Any thoughts on whether or not they're going to actually have witnesses?
They keep doing this. Like they'll trot out Susan Collins and Mitt Romney. Maybe they'll go this way, and then they'll go with fucking cunt face again because they're spineless. They like to appear to be independent-minded and swing voting and all. They're not. Mm-hmm. They're just. So it wouldn't be surprising if they did vote to block evidence. But it depends what happens because I mean they've got a couple of days of this question shit. And it is mostly shit, let's be honest. It's pre-prepared stuff from most of them. There's the occasional interesting question, but most of it's exactly what you would expect from exactly the people you would expect. It depends what happens in the next couple of days, because Lindsey Graham, I know, is like Lev Parnas is about to drop the fucking hammer on Lindsey Graham. Implicate him in being involved in all of this. Will be fun.
It would explain a lot of his actions.
Yeah, he's been getting gradually more hysterical out there, which I was putting down to like old age or something. Maybe he's just gone mental. Like, I don't know, but seemingly he can feel the potential legal implications. Maybe I don't know.
I didn't know he had stuff on Lindsay.
Apparently so. But we'll have to wait to see exactly what all of that is. Maybe it's being hyped up. His lawyers obviously just want him to be viewed sympathetically because he's outing all these powerful people, so he must be a good guy, so be lenient. So pinch of salt as always, but Yeah, we'll see.
Well, with any of these guys, any of these Trump guys, pinch of salt, because I would rather go for facts than testimony myself. I would rather see contemporaneous notes.
At his rallies, they still chant "Drain the swamp." Like, are you kidding me? Like, at least before he got into office, there was, in theory, he could have, right? He never had any intention, clearly, and never really said that he was going to do anything other than just drain the swamp. But he's made it the swampiest swamp it's ever been. There's never been a swampier swamp than this in
He is
Washington.
the swamp monster.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Basically.
The creature from the Black Lagoon. Swamp. Whatever. So...
Don't mix your bodies with murky water, goddammit.
Getting back to Bolton, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I know we all know we don't know what's going to happen. But in terms of even hazarding a guess, I think I just can't count on the Republicans to do the right thing. But I've never seen this much political pressure. I mean, this is like a television script kind of plot pacing. You know what I mean? The trial started 8 days ago. Think of when we were 4 days ago, before Bolton's revelation, this was all just going to be, seeing if it could even go 2 weeks, because McConnell had, basically this plan with the White House, and he had all of his senators on board, and he counted his votes, and he knew he could get through the exact procedures he wanted to, and everything was going his way. And then, boom, just it all, like a car crash, just went like completely upside down, went sideways, as I said. And now I don't know what happens in the next episode. So
they're off for a shit.
Yeah, it'll be. Are you still there?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I was just saying they're off to the toilet. All of them.
I can't hear you.
There's going to be a queue.
Oh, no.
There's going to be a hello.
Last time, wasn't it? Yeah, I couldn't hear you last time either. I don't know if you're frozen or.
Hello.
That's weird. I can see your voice, but I can't hear it.
Hello.
Yeah, you're saying hello, I bet. Try dropping out and coming back in. I don't know why this happens with Hangouts after like 30 minutes. Sound just goes. Kevin's left the call. We're not even screen sharing. We're not doing anything. It's ridiculous.
Hello.
No, I can see you saying hello. You can hear both of us.
Kristi.
That's weird. You guys can hear Kevin, but I can't. Yeah, it's not coming through on the OBS signal either. Yeah, I can see your screen. Okay, I'll try leaving, and I'll try coming back in. Okay? Hopefully this will work. All right, guys. Sorry about the technical problems. Hopefully this won't take too long. Click here to join the call. Join the Hangout.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi there.
Kristi.
And I can't hear you.
Kristi.
I'm really sorry. I know he's saying hello because I can tell by the sound waves, the way they move around his face, his avatar. I can tell he's saying hello.
Penis. Penis. Penis.
Let me just. Oh, wait. Hold on. My sound got muted for some reason. Hold on.
Hello?
Yes. Fixed it. Sorted.
Hello, Kristi.
Yep, we're back. We're back. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, cool.
Sorry about that, everyone.
Once you'd worked out I was saying hello, I just started saying penis.
I'm glad you kept the chat.
I didn't know.
I'm glad you kept the chat
10
entertained.
times.
Okay, so anyway.
Yes, my penis is entertaining, yes. Absolutely.
All right. No, you did not miss the Sargon part. We are actually just getting...
Hang on. It's definitely on your end.
It was on my end. I did something weird this time, yes.
So. No, hang on. No, not just this time, because it's exactly the same problem as last time. So accept it. Accept the blame. And apologise to my fucking internet.
Okay. So...
Anyway.
All right. Yeah, so he's not saying hello now, Kristi. Yes, sorry, you guys are lagged. We're caught up now. Okay, we were gonna talk. Yes, we were gonna talk about. We were transitioning. We are gonna wrap up the impeachment talk, and transition over to Sargon and Vaush. Now, did you watch the exchange? Yes. All right, how much of it did you watch? The whole thing?
All of it.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did make it through a good chunk of it. I do intend on finishing it, but there was a lot.
9 hours of fucking baked Alaska walk around LA telling random people his Twitter account was blocked.
There's only one name you associate with the phrase 9 hours, and you're immediately who you're going to talk about.
Yeah. So after that, I can watch anything now. I can watch it.
You're desensitized. You're completely numb.
Yeah.
All right. So
yes. Anyway, so I've got timestamps. We're not watching it because fuck that noise. But
yeah, no. Fair enough. I don't want to set all that shit up either. So let's just go with talking about it. If you've got timestamps.
Did you think we were going to?
No. Well, if Zoom had worked, I would have done it because it should have worked perfectly. But since now I have to physically do it, yada yada yada. But no, please do mention specific timestamps so that people in the audience and myself can listen back to the show and then watch the particular clips.
I've got lots of them. At 17 minutes and 50 seconds, he claims that there are loads of monarchies still in power in Europe.
Who's he in this? You don't have to specify. Pronouns aren't helpful. The pronoun game.
Sargon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically.
I should say that Vaush is still a prick, but I was actually really impressed with how well he did, actually. He was very good.
Well, I've got some comments on that, but.
It was very thorough. And Carl, if you've only got 1 point and it's already been answered, stop asking a dozen times. He literally just kept going on this thing. Oh, you're a communist, but you support blah, blah, blah. This is really annoying. Anyway, so no, there are no monarchies in power in Europe at all. Basically, there are some constitutional ones, like here in Britain and in Spain, but no, there are no divine right of king monarchs in Europe. You idiots.
No.
So he claims at 30 minutes and I've got 29, but I presume I mean 20 seconds. He claims that he can't think of any illegitimate billionaires.
Yeah, I did see that part. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you can't even, how can you even say that with a straight face? You have no idea what happens to money in Swiss bank accounts. You have no idea what happens with offshore funds. Even if they got it 100%, even if they are in a legal system and have legitimate businesses, you don't know that they got all of their money legitimately. God, that was just ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, and not just that, but his whole thing was, you can't be mean to the millionaires. It's private property, and fuck's sake. Anyway, the next one really infuriated me as a history bod. At 31 minutes and 20 seconds, he said that the English Civil War was not very bloody. Now, I looked at the stats.
That's a ridiculous claim.
4% of the English population, the entirety of the English population was killed, not even encountering fucking injuries. 4% of England was killed, 6% of Scotland was killed, and 41% of Ireland was killed during the English Civil War. Now, just to put that into perspective, 41% of Ireland. Now, would you say that the Eastern Front during the Second World War in Russia, right? Would you say that was quite bloody, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Krista?
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty fucking horrific. One of the worst we can think of. That cost about 16% of the Russian population. 16%. Ireland lost 41%.
Yeah.
I'd say the English Civil War was pretty bloody. You historically illiterate twat, Carl.
Don't know much about history.
He then twice at 42 minutes 35 and 56 minutes says that immigration is class warfare, which is meaningless. Where else? Then at 1 hour and 40 seconds, he says that Birmingham and London, Birmingham being where I'm from, by the way, are not British cities. No. Yeah, exactly. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Well, what exactly does that mean, Kev? What does he mean by that? Well, he reveals himself because Vaush asks him quite straightforwardly, because he gives statistics about people who identify as white British not being a majority anymore. And Vaush says, can black British people be British, Carl? And he refuses to answer. And basically argues at 1 hour and 11 minutes for a white ethno-state. Basically saying you have to be white to be English.
That's...
Yeah. Carl's basically a white nationalist.
Yep, he is. Yeah, I mean, again, he's just showing it again.
Yeah, and then goes further with 1 hour 25. I keep saying 1 minute, fuck's sake. 1 hour 25. He echoes the Dalai Lama in his racism by saying that Europe should be for Europeans, Africa for Africans, so on and so forth, which is interesting because Carl claims to be against the divine right of kings, but yet the Dalai Lama wants to go back to Tibet to be a divine ruler with a slave underclass, which is literally the system he wants to reinstitute in Tibet. So much for your classical liberalism.
Also appeal to authority.
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous. Although he does that all the time. He says with immigration, because the majority of people want it, it should happen. Which Vaush quite rightly makes the point about that might be a reason to institute a law, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good law to make.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Yeah. Where are we then? He then says what I think might be the most disgusting thing he said all evening, which is amazing considering what I've already outlined for you. At 1 hour, 30 minutes and 50 seconds, he says that trans kids in the UK, this is specifically, trans kids are being groomed to be trans.
What?
And sticks with that line, even though Vaush literally reads out the description of the word groomed, meaning it has to be a sexual assault thing for it to be grooming in that respect. Because obviously grooming can be hair grooming, but obviously that's not the reference. So in this instance, grooming would have to be of a sexual assault nature, and obviously this isn't. Even if you think they're being tricked into being trans, it's not sexual assault, but it still sticks with the word grooming because he's an idiot,
and a
fucking idiot, and obviously, and says, "Oh well, you're American, you don't know, but I'm a British person, Carl. Trans people aren't being groomed." He claims that all of the media are being like pro-trans.
What?
Where? Trust me, I live in Britain, Carl. Most of the media are really shitty towards trans people. They keep having on awful gobshites. Like, oh God. Carl interviewed a woman called Rosie, is it
Parker?
Posey Parker?
Posey Parker.
Rosie Parker. Posey Parker, there we go.
Yeah.
Who's a turf piece of shit. What a surprise. I've said this before. The TERFs are very, very close to the Vaush. They're very close in a number of ways, which is ironic because the Vaush want you barefoot and naked. So, you know. But what I especially love, I watched a Posey Parker video the other day where she was decrying identity politics, whilst behind her, she has a huge like banner thing, like a cloth banner thing with the word woman, and it's like the dictionary definition thing. So it's like woman, noun, female, human, or whatever the trans phrase is. And I thought to myself, you're decrying identity politics while literally behind you there's a big thing saying woman. Like,
we know.
You
do
realise that you're doing identity politics there. You're literally declaring your politics through the fact that you're a woman. You're doing identity politics literally behind you, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway. Where did I get to? I've lost it now. Oh, there's a brilliant moment, very, very funny, at 1 hour 33:30, where they're discussing puberty blockers. The trans kids and stuff. And
delayers,
Carl's going
really.
about. Well, yeah, exactly, delayers, yeah. And Carl asks a really, really stupid question, which reveals his ignorance about. He was going about, will it stop them from procreating? And Vaush has to point out to them, they're prepubescent, Carl. And Carl literally just goes, okay. And there's this dumb look on his face, like he doesn't know what he's just said. What a fucking moron. Like, as if anyone would ever take him seriously on matters of biology when he's just asked that question. Can people pre-puberty be stopped from having? They can't do that already. It's pre-puberty, you moron. Do you know what puberty is?
Yes, because didn't he have a conversation with Ethan Ralph then about puberty? Who was he talking?
Did he?
Yeah, about the age of the child. That was it. It was brought up, and he mentioned about puberty as a thing or something. I can't remember the details
very
now.
Strange.
It's in the distant internet past.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't really matter. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't.
That's the thing. Vaush is quite a clever guy. Looks a bit, but Carl's an idiot, and he hasn't. Like, how long has it been since you and Carl had that thing where you absolutely fucking destroyed him?
He's been a year now. I think it was about this time last year, wasn't it? February maybe of last year.
Yeah, I think it seems like longer than that even. But whatever it was, he hasn't learned.
Oh, nothing.
He's still doing the same shit. Like, he literally opened with, he got the first chance to speak, and he said, "Oh well, I haven't prepared an intro or anything." And I thought to myself, "Yeah, no shit. I know you haven't, Carl. That would take effort and like some semblance of self-respect."
Thanks to Kristi in the chat. Justicar. That was the.
Justicar. That's it. Yes, it depends on the age of the child. Yes. Yeah. Indeed. Who, by the way, is a really interesting guy because he's so anti-lesbian that he refuses to call it LGBT. He calls it GLBT because the gays have to be first. Literally, he does. I swear to God, he's amazing. Anyway,
that's
amazing. I don't mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean amazing in the same way that, like, I don't know, genocide is amazing. You know.
Yeah.
Different scale.
Yes.
Different scale.
Like, isn't a British a sarcastic amazing? Like,
yes,
you couldn't.
I do realize that with Americans, I'll say stuff like, "That's incredible."
Yeah.
And people think I'm being
positive.
No, I just mean literally, I can't believe this is a thing. That's what I mean.
I am amazed by this.
Yes,
I am stunned into silence. Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Although silence is not good. Dead air is a crime.
and
anyway.
Filling it up. Yes, that's what she said. Or whatever. I distracted myself. What timestamp were we on?
That was at 1 hour 33:30. Okay. Then moving forward exactly 2 minutes to 1:35:30, he brings up trans trenders, which, Carl, that's not a thing.
No.
He then moves on. 1:39, he says the more grooming stuff, like, oh, they're grooming kids to be trans, which isn't true. He then shows himself. This is amazing. 1 minute 41. Seriously, go and watch. If you do watch it, go to that timestamp. 1 hour 41 minutes. He reveals himself to be the single most intellectually dishonest, frankly, intellectually bereft human being ever. Vaush sarcastically jokes. Like, he brings up a study about how the fact that they're not grooming kids. Well, they found that actually the prescribing is pretty decent. There's an overprescription, but a lower overprescription than many other diseases, like in terms of medical diagnosis of body dysphoria.
Okay.
Whatever it's called. Yeah. But it's from a study from San Francisco. And Vaush sarcastically says, unless you're not going to trust it because it's from San Francisco, is that too liberal for you? As a joke, thinking, well, that's too absurd. He won't reject it on that basis, clearly, because that would be stupid. And Carl literally does. He says, I'm not going to trust a study from California. I'm not going to trust a study from California. As if, I mean, the fact that there are prestigious seats of learning in California, like USC, UCLA, various, Berkeley and all the rest of it, incredible seats of learning. But because it's California, which he sees as very liberal, that means he's not going to trust it.
Oh, I would love.
Even though one of the fucking things he cites as evidence that the British public are really against immigration was from a site called Migration Watch.
Great. Yeah.
So
just
clearly,
be right wing
really
in your name.
In favour of him, he's fine with that. But if it's even, I mean, he's not even biased. He's got no evidence of bias at all against this study. He didn't read it. He doesn't know anything about it. But it's from California, so he's going to reject it. I mean, that is the height of anti-intellectualism. I
would really love it if there was some study that he did cite. If we could go back and look, and the authors were all from California universities. I mean, that's obviously something to look out for now for Carl.
Oh, well, I'm sure he's cited something from Berkeley in the past. I'm guarantee he has, because they do all kinds of stuff, and that's fine. That's what science is about, anyway. And also with studies, you can kind of twist them to make them say different things, and I'm sure he has. So yeah, he literally does the thing that Vaush was joking about. He literally did. So I mean, he's just too stupid. He then at 1 hour 47 claims that the high suicide rate amongst trans people is down to the fact that trans activists are too active. Yeah,
those are all words in the English language, but in that order, when you think about it, it makes no sense.
Of course it makes no fucking sense. He was just gish galloping, and Vaush was destroying him at every turn. It was incredible. Like I say, Vaush is a dick, but you've got to tip your hat where it's due.
Yeah, I haven't got to this part of it yet, so I'm not obviously going to comment on this. But
already at the half-hour mark, I had to tweet out and say that I've finally got around to watching this earlier. We're watching this right now, and after half an hour, Carl's stupidity is making my brain melt. And it's true. It was dripping out of my ears. It was ridiculous. Where are we? Carl then jokes. By the way, are we familiar with the term Nazbol?
Oh, you might want to just define it for people who aren't.
Basically, Nazi Bolsheviks are sort of left-wing economically, but fascist in terms of virtually everything else. And they do exist. These people are real. They're essentially sort of not very dissimilar to alt-right people. Anyway, Carl jokes that he's going to go Nazbol when liberalism fails, and Vaush just says, "Yes, we all know." So Carl thought that was going to be like, oh, that's hilarious. Everyone's like, we figured that out, Carl.
You'll do that grift too.
Yeah. He reveals 1 hour 59:50. He basically he reveals that he doesn't understand what the Jim Crow laws were. He seemed to think that Jim Crow laws forced every business in a state to not admit black people, which how would that possibly work for any of the black people at all? There were establishments that like served black people, otherwise they'd have starved.
I don't think he's ever heard the phrase separate but equal and being struck down by the Supreme Court and saying it was separate is inherently unequal. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I didn't make a note of, so I don't have the timestamp, but earlier in the thing, he does his usual. He basically did a slightly weirder version of Have You Even Read?
Okay.
Thing where he goes on about English individualism, which is a thing he loves to go on about. And then, because Vaush disagrees with him, he says, "You're a German collectivist."
Oh, yes. I for some reason that I did hear that phrase. Maybe I'd skipped ahead or jumped ahead or accidentally, but a German collectivist. Like, this gets back to his British people being individualists and Germans. Is this where this is all going?
Well, he does, and exactly, yeah. And at one point, again, I didn't want to make too many notes because I thought we'll be here all fucking night. At one point, he starts essentially doing cultural essentialism, where because you were born in a place, even though he's already defined it as being white, you have to be white to be British. But if you're born in a place, you literally genetically inherit a culture.
I don't think he said that, but I'm sure it came across that way. But I'm sure he'll deny it if you ask him.
And as
it is a logical, follow on from what he says.
Yeah, exactly. He literally didn't put it like that because, as Vaush pointed out, it's not even this is coming out because he's racist. He's just too stupid to understand what these things mean. And it's true. Yeah. It's just absolutely true. He is also a racist, but this is just ignorance. He doesn't understand what these things are.
The two, go hand in hand. They're together.
This is basically Donald Trump, but without the power.
Yeah.
He's just saying dumb shit. Anyway, ethnic essentialism at 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Again, doesn't seem to understand what ethnic means. But
2 hours?
Pardon?
2 hours?
2 hours and 3 minutes.
Okay, not 2 seconds and 3. Okay, or whatever.
No.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to be clear.
And then at one point, at 2 hours, 8 minutes and 50 seconds, Vaush, they have like a kind of weird back and forth bit where Vaush is saying, Vaush is sort of having a dig at him, and there's a bit of a back and forth of like, I don't even know, like bitching basically. And Carl asks him a silly question, and Vaush starts to answer, and Carl just starts to make silly noises into the microphone to try and drown him out.
Nice.
Just going blah 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 into the microphone.
I would have laughed at him. I would have just.
This is your serious debate, is it, Carl? Well, at some points, Vaush did. And by the way, for some of Vaush's facial expressions, I don't even think he was trying to act. He was literally just like
reacting.
Did he just say that? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally just like stunned. Then one horrible bit and a funny bit. At 2 hours 16:10, he said he does the thing he did within the Destiny debate he had, and still hasn't learnt from. So basically making the argument that a woman is only a woman if she can have a baby.
Oh,
and it's pointed out to him, well, what about infertile women or like old women? Mm-hmm. Do they stop being women? And he's an idiot. He can't answer it. So he goes back to, oh, you're a communist. You're doing blah, blah, blah. Oh, for fuck's sake. And then a funny bit, which just shows you, I think it's British tech being shit. His internet connection was so bad that for the last 20 minutes of the debate, cause they had the two video streams of the two of them like answering the questions or whatever, or talking to each other, and Carl's picture just froze.
Nice. For
the last 20 minutes, it was literally just a still image of what it froze, and he was just looking off like to the right, to his right. Yeah, so that was quite funny. It wasn't as funny as the time he did a live stream and was silent for the first 20 minutes
of it, yeah. And everyone kept calling him on Skype, amazing. And he kept rejecting it. Like, I'm in the middle of a stream. I'm like, yeah, we know, we can't fucking hear you.
Anyway, so those are the bits.
Okay.
Those were my greatest tits.
And they are a lovely set.
Yes. They are absolutely cracking Bristols. Yeah. So what did you make of the bit you've seen to this point?
Well, I mean, I think you've done a fine job of summing up all of Carl's low points. So, I mean, I'm not going to really speak to that so much because I came in having seen and been prepared for and having heard Carl in the past. So for me, I was looking to see if Vaush would get better. So
your expectations were fucking sky high. You thought, oh my God, it's one of the great minds of our age.
No, but I watched to learn his perspective and to hear his solutions and his answers. That's really what I went in there, and also to watch Carl dodge and weave. And so I tweeted this out too. I'm not going to really say anything I have differently than what I said on Twitter, but my critique of first of all, it was better than the last time in that it was more organized. There was still, I think,
because we should say it was hosted on a third channel, like an independent. It's the debate thing, which actually has got some other good stuff on there as well, some other interesting debates. Anyway, sorry.
I personally would have liked to see it be more focused. I think they should agree statements, like 3 or 4 different statements, and spend time on them because. Yeah,
but Carl's tried that with you, and it went really, really badly for him. So he thinks if he can gish gallop and just talk over people and interrupt, like that suits him better. Because then you can't hold him to anything.
But the problem with not at least having something to come back to, I mean, it's kind of one thing to go on a tangent. We do that all the time. But you need something to come back to, I think, in order for it to be productive. And so I think structurally that was lacking. And again, this is just my take, like what I would have liked to have seen. It did. So where I definitely got to the point where they started turn taking a bit more. I don't know how long that lasted. But talking over each other was something that does annoy me because I want people to be able to make arguments and I want to hear them and I want other people to hear what they have to say and then I want people to respond to what was said, not like the first third of it and then the rest of it just gets dropped, So in terms of the economics, let's just call it the economics section about capitalism and socialism. I didn't actually learn anything in terms of the practical structural changes and the ways that things could be moved forward from capitalism to socialism. So what Vaush tends to do is he tries to high road people. He tries to take the moral high ground. And instead of like dealing with economic structures, like, so one of the things that came up was the idea of Vaush thinking that if you work at a company, you should own part of that. And then Carl did his usual sort of like free market objections. And I had the thought, okay, what if, Carl, I think he started talking about business owners, and if you get part of the company, you're getting shares. And I thought that was interesting. I wanted them to go down that route, because that's actually how you would end up distributing the equity. Or would it all have to become cash? And so I, had a legit question, like, say I'm a business person. I've borrowed money from the bank. I've put in, I put stuff on my mortgage. I've raised funds. Not everybody's rich, but let's say, you put in the $750,000 to get a location, equipment, inventory, to hire people to train them. And then this law comes into effect. Now let's say you've got 7 employees. How would this work?
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen that conversation, because that would have been that would have been interesting and productive potentially. But the point is, Carl doesn't care about the practicality. Right, but this is it.
Carl just wants to say, "Have you read Locke?"
Right, but Kevin,
that's literally his. I mean, we make fun of that, but that's literally Carl's whole argument. So he doesn't care to go down any actual practical.
But I'm talking about Vaush's point of view here, right? You don't debate someone to have them hear you. You're debating someone for the audience. When I debated Carl,
I got the impression that Vaush wasn't. Vaush was literally just, he wanted to destroy Carl, which I think he did pretty well in, actually.
Yeah, but I think if then he's doing it for himself, and we're all just watching him indulge in his personal enjoyment. He's not communicating things to people who are showing up to see this, like me.
Oh, okay, but I mean, to be fair, it's a YouTube debate. Like, it's not. I don't think it's fair to expect too much from it. Like, I would have liked the conversation to go down that route too. I think that would have been really interesting and productive. But it's the YouTube debate. How interesting and productive do you think it's going to be?
Well, is it productive?
It was about as interesting and productive as most can get.
This is my point. It could be as productive as Vaush wanted it to be. So I'm just saying, I'm not asking you to defend him. I'm just giving my peer review critiques here of what
Look, I've been a critic of Vaush's in the past. I just think on this occasion, like, he did pretty well.
Okay, but it's just my opinion, man. Like, you don't have to convince me I'm wrong or defend him.
You're not entitled to your opinion. Women have to stay silent at all times.
So if I could continue giving my opinion, because I listened quietly through yours. So yeah, the thing about the moral high roading is that one. Thanks, Carl.
That's what Carl did. I mean, it was actually as ridiculous as just going "shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up" to Richard Carrier, but even more childish. So
even more so childish. From the naughty step, he was doing it. For instance, in that exchange, Carl, the issue of silicon. If you no, it wasn't that particular one, but the issue of child labor and other basically modern day slavery conditions, and Carl brought it up, and also he didn't defend it. I'm going to be fair here. He didn't defend it in any way. If anything, I think if you look at him, he was saying it's a bad thing, and that that's a coercive way of getting labor, and I'm talking about a non-coercive way. So he was making the distinction. But Vaush chose to go in on the issue of modern day slavery and give a whole speech about that, and just to show his moral superiority and straw man Carl, which again I thought was really weak.
I did.
Go ahead.
I'd have chosen to go down the line of which is, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward socialist line, that actually even the quote unquote uncoercive system of capitalism is coercive.
Yeah, that would have been a better argument.
Go to work or starve.
Yeah.
Be homeless. So it's not really like a fair choice. You can't choose not to.
Yeah, that's something that maybe Carl's audience hadn't heard or thought about.
Well,
So,
yeah, they're Carl's audience. Of course, they hadn't thought about it.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. And so again, I thought it was a missed opportunity to actually discuss the topic, which was supposed to be socialism and capitalism, which, yes, maybe slavery certainly could be considered a subset of that, but considering it was that wasn't the topic, and then
Can I just interrupt? The question they've now moved on to, this is amazing. Their Obama arrangement is phenomenal.
Great.
It just
never ends.
says GOP senator, so I don't know specifically who asked this, but the question is, which had the greater impact? Semicolon. Trump's temporary pause on Ukraine aid or Obama's refusal to provide any military aid?
And they asked that to the White House team?
Trump didn't give the aid either.
No,
well,
Congress
not just that, but the asked to the White House team, of course it is. But the point being that Trump didn't provide that aid. Congress did.
Yep, both times under Obama
Trump
and
didn't do this.
Yep, their appropriations bills.
Yeah. But Trump tried to stop it.
Yeah, he held it up illegally according to the government accounting office. So.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Good God. You were talking about something completely inconsequential. So yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to say in terms of my critique of the debate was on the negative side, or the how you could improve. Right, the shit sandwich which is what I'm doing. Say something nice, tell them all the shit they did wrong, and then say something nice at the end. But Vaush has this habit of unnecessarily insulting someone at the start of his answer, and it doesn't make him, to my mind, again coming from the outside, it doesn't make him look clever. It doesn't make him look like he's arguing in good faith, and honestly it's a distraction, and it makes him look small. It doesn't make him look powerful or thoughtful or clever. It makes him look very small and petty, and it really gets in the way of what he wants to be communicating, or should, in my opinion, want to be communicating. And I think that in those kind of debate situations, insults like that are most powerful when they are used sparingly, in particularly appropriate situations, and kind of obliquely. It's not so much a direct "you're a jerk," so much as a backhanded kind of thing, or a double meaning to a phrase, because then it is out of character and people notice it. But if you just insult people all the time, you just come across like an ass, in my opinion. So those, as to wrap up the shit sandwich, I thought overall it was much more productive than the last time, and Vaush, well, at least as far as I've heard, hasn't made any obvious logical fallacies. But still, I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10. From what I've seen so far.
I thought it was better than that in general.
Well, you saw the whole thing, because I haven't seen the trans stuff yet. So he might get better, but this economic stuff, which is kind of what I was showing up for, I'm no more socialist now at the end of watching that than I was when I started, is what I'm saying.
That's fair. Yeah, I thought he did pretty well. I'll give it 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well. He did. Yeah, I think he did really well on the trans stuff when they were actually seriously talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did a weird bit at the end where they were just sort of rambling for 10 minutes, and they were pretty friendly at the end. Well, you could tell there was still needle between them, but like they were just sort of chatting. And then they got onto the topic of, he was going about the woke scold left, and I thought to myself, "You're a twat. You're a twat, mate."
Yeah, that's why they get along.
From an 8.
Yeah,
that took it down from an 8.
That's where their their Venn diagrams.
Yeah, exactly. That's where they met, and which I suppose is a nice transition onto what the other thing you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna have to get my Twitter up. But the thing is, I desperately need water, and we've been going for like over an hour. So can you entertain the peeps or yourself while I go get top up my water?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll be right back.
You may die of thirst.
I won't put my headphones on so you hear yourself. I'll put them somewhere else. But if I don't hear you anymore, I'll be back.
Okay. Anyway, bye. I can't fill the next 2 minutes with just me saying penis. That would be a little bit silly. So I'll just tell you at the moment, Jay Sekulow, the outside legal counsel for President Trump, is saying something. On the new question, Independent Senator King to House managers and Trump defense. I didn't realize you could ask to both. I thought it had to be to one. Anyway, they say, do you agree with General John Kelly that John Bolton should be heard in this trial? Interesting. I mean, obviously he should be, because it would be amazing to see, I don't know, Bernie Sanders become president because of John Bolton shitting on Trump. That would be amazing. For once, it would be the right taking down the right to the left's benefit rather than the exact opposite of that, or the reverse of that, whatever. Where it's the left taking down the left in order that the right win. So, yeah. What else is there to say? Yeah, we're going to be talking now, well, I think anyway, if Kristi gets the Twitter up, about some recent Twitter silliness from certain people, which may or may not get people a bit riled up, and that's fine. I know when we did the last stream about Bernie and Joe Rogan endorsing Bernie Sanders, people didn't like what I had to say, and I lost like 250, 300 subs, something like that. And I don't particularly care. It is what it is.
Hiya. I'm back.
Chase numbers. Yes. Hello there, Krista.
Hello. I couldn't unmute myself for a second. I had a panic. Oh no, what's going to happen? But then I sorted it by just making the window bigger.
Hello, Krista. Are you there?
Can you hear me? My mic? Yeah. Oh, okay. God.
I'm playing with you.
You're such a fucking asshole. Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Hello. Kristi.
Penis. Penis. Okay.
Well, that's the thing, you missed it. I just spent the last 3 minutes saying penis over and over again.
Oh, well, you just have to do it for me off air.
No. You missed your chance. You decided that not dying of thirst was more important to you.
Such a bitch. All right. So, yeah, I think I've got the tweet up in particular, but basically, well, there's a couple things. Well, there's, so we're going to talk about, shoe? We want to talk about like people getting dragged over stuff or,
whatever you want to talk about,
Okay.
Kristi.
Okay. Well, hey, we should address this. We should talk about this. I saw this on the Twitter, and I bookmarked it for the show because it's super funny. If you think back, I have to show you. Yeah, sorry, I have to screen share. The peoples can see.
That would help.
You can't see anything. You can't see, but now I have to expand the window in order to get the buttons up because this interface is shite. There we go. Which one? Yeah, that's the one. Okay. And there you go. So,
hello.
You see it now?
Bogus defense bingo.
Yes. So this was for the White House's 2 days or whatever. I don't even think they used 14 hours. But these are...
No, they didn't, no.
Yeah. So just remember, think back to all the times they talk and see if any of these ring a bell. The call was perfect.
Ding.
Trump had valid concerns.
Ding.
No harm, no foul. They got the aid.
Ding.
Obama did it.
Ding.
The House wants you to do its job.
Ding.
It's all hearsay.
Ding.
Mueller found no collusion.
Ding.
You're going to ding the whole way through because there's 24 of them? Or do you want
Yes. Yes, I fucking am.
It was so
I'm committed
unfair.
to the bit now.
It was so unfair. Okay. Abuse of power isn't impeachable.
Ding.
The whistleblower was biased.
Ding.
Impeachment will undo the election.
Moo.
Schiff is a liar.
Sorry. Ding. Ding.
Oh, and then the free square. Hunter Biden should be investigated.
Ding, 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 ding.
Trump said there was no quid pro quo.
Ding.
The Ukrainians didn't even know.
Oh, ding.
Joe Biden is corrupt.
Ding.
The evidence is insufficient.
Ding.
Zelensky said nothing was wrong.
Ding, 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 ding.
Trump wants to save the presidency.
Ding, ding, ding.
You pausing? You're just trying to come up with different bells now?
Yeah.
Gonna do Big Ben here soon? All right. The House should have gone to court.
Ding, 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 ding.
Trump invoked valid privileges.
Ding.
Trump gave Ukraine more support than Obama.
Ding.
There is no crime.
Ding.
The articles are duplicitous.
Ding.
Abuses of Congress isn't impeachable.
Ding.
Yep. So there you go. Bogus defense bingo. Thank you very much, Terry Canefield. Go check out her Twitter.
No, because I have to be contrary now and just say fuck you, Tara.
All right, so
for being a libtard.
So I say thanks.
Apparently we're all libtard. I got called.
Kevin says F you. Got some videos, but we can't play those now. Where did these go? Yeah, there was this. Objectively Subjective. Friend of the show. Often.
Oh, what? Oh, well, I was going to say if you actually got Peter's tweet up, because I did respond to it.
Yeah, I saw that you had, and so that's kind of, and also Cog responded to it, and I talked to Cog about it, and so I just thought we'd talk about it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big thing, but since everyone was talking about it, it was like, well, let's just talk about it. So again, Objectively Subjective, I would call him a friend of the show, a viewer, yes. And also someone whose content I consume.
Fucking Zoom worked when I went on their show.
Yes, it did. Maybe I did it wrong. I don't know. I think I got the link right. I mean, how hard can it be to paste a link? But anyway, he notified us of this tweet from...
It took me onto the actual Zoom site. It was fine, but then he asked me to sign in, and I signed it, and he wouldn't. He just went loading and stopped. Oh, what the fuck? Anyway, sorry.
Huh. That's weird. Okay, well, at least I know it's a technical side from your thing. Did you... I think you can log in with Facebook, right? Try that.
Yeah, but it didn't. That didn't work. It just froze, and I was like, oh, "Fuck this."
People in the chat don't want to hear our technical conversation, so I'm just going to move along.
I don't fucking care. You're going to listen to our technical conversations, you ungrateful little shits.
All right, and objectively subjective, I should say.
Technically subjected. Come on.
Yes, as we all are under the current capitalist system. Wrote.
Hey.
This is it's kind of basically Bread True Rosinetti with Gamergators, Skeptics 3.0. Check it out. And I have to say, this is a pretty specious tweet. But Kevin, because you replied on Twitter and I didn't, because I muted Peter like ages ago, so I don't know if he could be talking trash about me. I don't even know. Probably not. I'm not that important. But do you want to kind of like give your take on this?
Well, should we read out the tweet first?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. My mistake. So, from Peter Coffin, hashtag I like Bernie. Gamergators justifiably...
Blue tick mark, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget the blue tick mark.
Yeah. Gamergators... And actually, thank you for asking me to read this out, Kevin, because I think the language here is important. And yes, on Twitter, people don't always... They write things, maybe a first draft that they edit through. And maybe if I asked him personally, the conversation would be different. But I'm just going to go by what's on the tweet and how I read it, because that's all I can do. I can't get inside his mind and necessarily know what he means and things like that. So, as I said, the language I think is important. To quote Peter, Gamergators justifiably felt alienated by the neoliberal fetishization of feminism and the reductionism of politics to identity teams. And powerful people with supremacy ideologies have worked a long time to subsume this alienation. Also, if I slipped, I should say they for Peter, and if I slipped, it's just because Peter for me is a he pronoun, and I'm still learning. So corrections to any mispronouns there. What they said. So yes, that was the quote from Peter.
Yes. I can't remember the exact wording of what I said, but I basically said that this was revisionist nonsense. Please don't do this, because I think they are starting to slip into a kind of skeptic 3.0 thing.
You want to remind the peoples how Gamergate started?
The fundamental problem, Gamergate started because a man who decided he would shit on his ex, that being Zoe Quinn, and lied about her and put shit out about her and all the rest of it. And that was enough to get misogynist pieces of shit to get the ball rolling on video game journalism ethics, honest guys. But it was about basically hating women and the SJWs and all of that. And that's the heart of the two major concerns I have with this tweet. Firstly, he's talking about Gamergaters being like alienated, and there's a certain truth to the fact that there are a lot of alienated young men out there and all the rest of it. But these were not like some downtrodden group of people. These were not the lumpen proletariat, to use the Marxist phrase.
Did you watch his video about Joe Rogan? Because he called Joe Rogan fans.
No, what's this?
He called Joe Rogan fans that.
Oh, well, no, it just basically means politically uneducated proletariat, like the general population.
No, if you look it up, it means the criminal and the homeless and vagrants, and it's pretty classist. So it's like, but yeah. Anyway,
well, I think in Marxist parlance, it just means the politically unaware large population of the people. That's what I meant by it, anyway. But anyway, so it's not. This is not. Okay, I won't use that phrase then. This is not. Some downtrodden group of marginalised peoples. These were largely pretty privileged middle class kids. Although I'm sure there were some working class people in there and whatnot, and maybe some upper class, but largely middle class, comfortable kids who decided they wanted to take out their angsty, misogynist, racist bullshit on the world.
They had the means and the leisure time to spend enough time in video games to care about this. That's who Gamergaters were.
That's the point I always made. Like, if you were going to start a movement for anything, even if it was about ethics in video game journalism, which is fine if that's what it was, but it wasn't. That's like the least important thing ever to start a movement about. Ethics in video game what? Like, there are so many things in the world you could start a movement about, and this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And not just that, but this is the thing, right? It isn't about all powerful people with supremacy ideologies. Now, again, there is a certain amount of truth there. There's no doubt that people behind like 4chan and stuff took this ball and got it rolling and all the rest of it. But ultimately, these people funded the kind of shysters like Carl, like Milo, and various other really horrific people. And this led to directly, I think, to the huge spike we saw in the alt-right. I think this led directly to that. So the idea that this is like some downtrodden working class expression of alienation is just so fundamentally untrue. And revisionist, because it didn't happen that way. Mm-hmm. It never did. And then my second point would be this dalliance he's now having with identity politics is the neoliberal fetishization of feminism.
Yeah.
Because it's identity teams is such bollocks.
Yeah.
And plays into a really dangerous thing. Because as you highlighted with your correction, Peter is a non-binary or gender non-conforming person. Don't play into that narrative, Peter, because that won't work well, even just on a selfish level for you. Because you're emboldening people who don't see you as a legitimate human being. They don't see your identity as real. So I don't know why you're playing into that nonsense. So even just from a selfish point of view, don't. But from my point of view, I think Peter's done some really good work in the past. But this kind of thing is just disgusting. It really is. I don't know how else to put it. And it's really disappointing. And I know you and him have got beef, and I think he's wrong.
I know. He had more beef with me than I ever had with him. No, I mean, it always went in one direction, really. I mean, I was critical of him, but it was long after he started criticizing me. I think he started running with people who,
in general, like, I think he's wrong because I think you're not a bad person.
Oh, well,
that is literally as genuine as I can be with a human.
Yeah,
that's
but
the greatest compliment you'll ever get from me.
Hey, I'm just going to do an appeal to authority and say Jeff Holiday, checkmate.
True, but he hates you more than me, which means you're better than me. So I'm only the second worst person in the world. So
yeah.
Anyway, what the fuck were we talking about?
I think you're just saying you're disappointed with the take.
But basically, yeah, I was really disappointed because he puts out really good takes in a lot of his videos. Sometimes I think he goes overboard and is a little bit pseudo-intellectual at times. But there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I suppose we all have our moments. But I think in general, his heart's in the right place. But this is garbage. This is absolute garbage.
on the verbose nature of his videos, I did see a tweet from Data Port Doll that said that I don't know, they'd made a comment on one video after watching it, like him going on for 20 minutes, and the comment was, "That was a long time to say neoliberalism is bad." It's like, it's the only comment I've ever left him. I think it's the only comment he ever needs.
A lot of it boils down to that, and that's fine. If that's your position, that's absolutely fine. But ultimately, I don't think you can just do class analysis on everything, and that solves the problem.
That's my objection here.
Would be my critique.
Yeah. Well, and basically, like, hand it off to me, because that's the point of where we are going to say the identical thing. Clearly, class issues belong within the pantheon of intersectional frames and lenses through which we should, examine the world. But as Kevin pointed out, this started off with a guy trying to get back at his ex, working up a lie, which then spawned into glomming onto objections to having any changes to highly hypersexualized women in video games. Yep.
Can I just point out as well, just to explain the exact sexist nature of it, it was specifically he was trying to slut shame her.
Yeah. Thank you for the detail.
His ex, that is, Zoe Quinn. So just to know that the very, very spark of that movement was misogynist as fuck. And it got worse from there. Yeah.
And in terms of the overall arc, I agree that Gamergaters, that was a pipeline to white supremacy. But, and then we'll come back to it, in terms of this term of this, in light of this term alienation, and whether this means alienation in a conventional social sense or a Marxist sense, which I'll come back to, the thing that was the pipeline to the supremacy ideologies was patriarchy. It was misogyny. It was appealing to a sense of there's a whole group of people that you're better than, which are women. At least you're not a woman. We're all better than them. And that was the hook. And then they started expanding that supremacy to race and ethnic background and national origin and everything else. So the overall, when we actually saw the study about that came out, the media analysis, right? And this has been, people talk about radicalization. No one's really worried about radicalization on the left. It's always radicalization toward the right. So I agree with the overall thesis, but but it's the inclusion of, again, these class framings that, to me, the tweet reads as if the Gamergaters themselves were victims of capitalism. Their agency is completely removed. And they are merely puppets of a corrupt system acting corruptly because of the programming, almost, if you want to think about it in computer terms, of the system. And therefore, their alienation was justified because of the corruption of the system. And, the problem is the system, not the misogyny. Is pretty much how I read that.
Actually, someone responded to my response. Peter didn't, although I know he definitely saw it because he liked the tweets that responded to mine, so he definitely saw it. But I don't care. I don't expect. He's got a lot of followers. I don't expect.
But still, that's anyway,
But the point being is that. Yeah. So he was definitely checking the thread. Yes. I know he was checking the fucking thread. Yeah. Anyway, but I suppose I would, because he got a lot of response. Anyway, someone responded to me basically saying, "Oh no, Peter's good. It's a good analysis. Blah blah blah." And basically making the point you made there, that as if it was these people are victims of the capitalist system, which, I mean, I would argue that most people are to some extent, although it varies. But the point being...
but they're not misogynist because of...
No, exactly. But that was the point I made. These people are often, and mostly are, staunchly, like ridiculously pro-capitalist. Not just they've been programmed to exist in the capitalist system. These people are horrific. So even if they are... victimized or alienated, they are the sowers of the seeds of their own subjection in this regard. I can't feel sorry for people who A, are hateful, bigoted garbage, and B, bring that upon themselves by their own political actions and activities. They're to blame for their own shit, and they take it out on other people.
Yeah.
Now, as an adult, I can't support that because that's ridiculous. That's like saying the reaction of a 7-year-old is justified because they don't like it that they've been told to go to bed at a certain time, even though it's good for them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I'm not prepared to feel sorry for fucking trash. I'm just not. And this is the thing. On a sort of related note, but not really. Thinking about some of the backlash we got to the Bernie episode last time, which, by the way, next time we do a show on my channel, I've got some words to say to my people. Anyway, because their reaction to you was not acceptable. But anyway, I was looking at, do you know Gushin, the leftist?
Yes.
Trans person who generally makes exceptionally good videos. Actually, I like their content a lot. But they did a video in December going on about J.K. Rowling being transphobic, which I absolutely agree with. And they literally say in the video, transphobes should not be accepted in leftist spaces. And then did a video a few days ago saying that Joe Rogan supporting Bernie Sanders was fucking awesome. And I literally had to leave a video thing on the video comment, which they may or may not reply to again. They've got a lot of followers and stuff, so I'm not expecting a response, but it'd be good to get a response. I literally had to ask them how, and I had to preface it by saying, I'm not attacking you, I'm not attacking Bernie. This is just a question. How do you square your comments saying transphobes should not be accepted into leftist spaces, and then being gleeful about the fact that not only did a transphobe endorse a candidate, which in of itself, I mean, is like I say, is not necessarily the point. Although I didn't make that little last ramble wasn't actually in the comment. Anyway, being gleeful about a transphobe endorsing Bernie, and Bernie, counter endorsing, if that makes sense, by putting out that video, a transphobic piece of shit. Because surely that's you welcoming a transphobe and other transphobes into a leftist space.
Yep.
And I genuinely would like an answer to that. And it's not to attack. I don't hate Gushin at all. I think Gushin makes very good videos and is an incredibly worthwhile person and productive person within the community. And on the similar line that sometimes they tread too close to the kind of skeptic ends justifying the means, fuck the morality of it type mentality sometimes. Which I don't think is useful. And someone made a very good point, actually. This is what happens when you try and monetize reasonably fringe philosophy, which, I mean, leftism is a sort of reasonably fringe thing, which I don't want it to remain. I want people to get on board with it. But the point being, if you try and monetize that, you essentially end up having to preach to a pre-existing audience who aren't leftists. And so you end up with these kind of horrific takes from people. And I don't think that's productive or healthy for, is it a community, whatever, a group of people online?
Yeah, I think questions are fair. People ask with an intention to hear the answer, whether they're waiting for a gotcha a moment or if they actually want to hear. And I think you genuinely want to hear. So, yeah. Okay, so if we can get back to my critique.
Sorry, I totally interrupted you. Go on.
The other parts of it, and Kevin, you've already sort of pointed this out a little bit. It's this phrase. Okay. So first things first. I'll come back to neoliberal fetishization of feminism and the reduction of politics to identity teams in a second. But so I hadn't responded to this. I think I might have responded to Objectively Subjective's tweet. But then I saw the Cognitive Society, friend of the show, had sent. Who's that? Oh man, like Cog is great, but he did like this 15 long tweet thread, which had references and like literally page numbers and author, title, publisher, and DOI.
I think I'm gonna have to cancel. I'm gonna have to cancel Cog anyway because he's bowed out of the next episode of Let Me Kick on Friday because he thinks his education's more important. Jesus. Sorry,
yeah, and so I was like, oh, someone's writing essays.
I'll cancel you. Cog, I'll cancel you in my woke scold way, and then you'll be a millionaire by next week.
There you go. Put that on the Twitter. There you go. You'll be on Joe Rogan next month.
Exactly. You'll be Dave Rubin's best mate by next Monday.
And so I'm teasing, but it was actually a very well argued point that when it came to all of the stuff that Cog was talking about fascism, I completely agreed with, and I thought he must have written it out like somewhere on his phone in a notepad thing, and then like broke it up into sections, because there's no way you could keep all those thoughts together. But the fundamental concern I had was not so much with what he was talking about with regards to, pipelines to fascism, because we've already stipulated we agree on that's the link between Gamergate and white supremacy. But it was this notion of this justifiable feeling of alienation. And that's where Cog and I we ended up getting distracted in whether or not alienation of labor is appropriately extended to alienation. Because alienation from labor in Marxist theory talks about how people do repetitive jobs and they don't see what comes out at the end of it. They don't have any connection to the completed project. And there's something psychologically rewarding about doing something and then seeing the results of your work that gives you a connection to it. And that sense of alienation was a sort of a psychological experience that was new for the generation it was going through. So, I mean, for me, alienation in that way, like to try to apply it to buying video games, okay, that doesn't work. So then you have to go up to the structure, right? So if you're thinking if Peter is talking about...
It's a bit first world problems.
Yeah, basically. And then, of course, that doesn't really make sense. So what makes more sense is that Peter's not critiquing particularly economic situations of the Gamergaters, because we know that they tend to skew more affluent and toward men and white, from what I've seen.
These were largely middle class suburban white American kids.
Yeah, okay, so then we get back to there's
Quite
the critique
large.
about so the whole thing about feeling justified. So it's a justification of the alienation that particularly bothers me. It's not just that they felt alienated maybe by capitalism, but it was justifiable. And it wasn't just like the system of capitalism, but by neoliberal fetishization. Is that right? Fetishization? Am I saying that right? Of feminism.
Fetishization.
Yes, thank you. Fetishization.
Is what I would say.
Say it again. Fetishization.
But I wouldn't put a Z. I wouldn't put a Z in fetishization.
Yeah, thank you. I can't speak to
Fair?
you. Yes.
Fair?
And that to me is like, I don't even know what to do with that phrase. I don't even know what to make. In terms of, is that within the Gamergate frame he's talking about? That inside video games, the critique that Anita was giving was merely the fetishization? Which is
ridiculous, because she often critiques like pink washing and stuff. So she's not just selling a product. And like when companies claim to give a fuck about pride, and then as soon as pride's done, they don't give two shits about gay people. I think that's that does exist in terms of feminism. Like I'm not saying Beyonce necessarily doesn't believe it, but she's selling a product when she's selling feminism, or Taylor Swift or one of those people. But the people within Gamergate weren't that, because they've said not only were they against fetishization of feminism, they were against feminist principles in totality.
Yes, exactly. Look at Shu. Ask your friend Shu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these people weren't like, oh well, we're down with like cool feminism, because they don't see any feminism as cool feminism.
Yeah,
so
you know what?
It's a joke to pretend that it's somehow a bastardization of feminism that's the problem.
Yeah, Thunderfoot wasn't down with Marxist feminism. That wasn't his critique.
No.
Right.
I don't think he was. He's more of a liberation feminist, I believe. Yes.
So, I mean, that phrase in itself just like sets off alarm bells, and is also just such a composition of fallacy. It's when you take, like, I don't even know what to do. That's just like, I don't know how to even characterize what that's supposed to mean. And then this too, the reductionism of politics to identity teams. Identity teams? Really? Like, this is a sport? Like, this is a game? Not people's lives? Not movements that are trying to liberate? Yeah. I mean, and just like... nothing counts
also,
but class.
What I would say
Nothing's
is that
important but class.
Yeah, well, exactly. It is absolutely class reductionist. But the point is, if he's going to critique taking things down to identity teams, Gamergate's not the horse to bet on there, because they literally did exactly that. They were an identity team in of themselves.
Yeah.
White male, whinging, middle
Status
class,
quo,
comfortable pricks.
patriarchal. Yeah, white supremacy.
Yeah. So they were literally doing identity teams and basically a neoliberal fetishization of gamer culture.
Yeah. That I could get.
Yeah. That's basically what that was.
Yeah.
By the way, you have 4 messages. You shouldn't show them live on air, but you have 4 messages.
Oh, no, I don't. You mean this green thing up here? This thing?
No, on Twitter. Never mind.
Oh, here. No, I'm not going to show
You've got people sliding into your DMs, woman.
How exciting for me. They won't get looked at.
I mean, I'm not saying one of them is a dick pic from me. I'm not saying that.
You sending me your Freud again? Your big bushy beard?
Yes, indeed. I've sent you a picture of a massive cockerel.
Oh, I love cockerels. All right. I think
it's
that's
really throbby and bony. It's very strange.
Yeah, and then this whole powerful people with supremacy ideologies have worked a long time to subsume this alienation. I'm going to have to look up the word subsume because I don't want to get it wrong.
It basically means like taking it over, basically, doesn't it?
Include or absorb.
And it becoming a part of the life. Yeah.
Include
absorb is the word I was
something
looking
else.
for, yeah.
All right. I don't know that they're that powerful. They're pretty devious. But the people with supremacy ideologies.
Well, there's no doubt
Trump,
that people like the alt-right definitely did subsume some of the Gamergate rabble.
Yeah.
I think there's no doubt about that. But they were sort of primed for that by Gamergate itself. Like itself was almost like it was sustained by its own circle of self-enforcing hatred.
Yeah, it was
Which obviously
misogyny.
was actually going to lead that way.
It basically was like a signal to white supremacists. Hey, here's an untapped group of people that you can come and talk to, who also hate women as much as you do. It was a grassroots misogynistic event. You know, it wasn't. So this whole tweet was just, bad take.
Garbage.
Yep, and let's see. Yes, also Malcolm Nance.
Well, I will say is I've seen him sort of backtrack a little bit.
I hope so. I would hope so.
In a sort of slightly man-babyish way, which in of itself is a red flag, but whatever. Yeah. But by basically saying, well, no, that's not really what I meant. I meant this other thing completely. And I wasn't wrong. Like it was, and it's sort of mealy-mouthed, but he has definitely rode back a little bit on it. Which is good,
hey, I'm not going to not respect someone. I mean, I won't give them the full respect if they don't do it properly. I think a wholesome apology is unreserved apology or correction is the way to inoculate yourself from anybody ever bringing it up again. But if he's walked back, then I'm not going to say that that's my final word on him ever, and I'm glad that he took the feedback on that, more importantly. And hopefully he won't make that kind of characterization of identity politics again, because it's actually really necessary to make a progressive society. So
yeah.
And there was one other thing I wanted to say too, because that the way that Peter had framed that tweet, and we talked about this, that the way that he structured his sentence and described the phenomenon, it absolved the Gamergaters of their agency. And it occurred to me that this is a terrible misapplication of intersectionality. At least my understanding of intersectionality is that when you look at a person, an individual, you take into account all of the things that are relevant to their experience, right? And the ones that aren't, you don't have to deal with necessarily, or you might not want to deal with them right now, or they might not be the thing that it's most pressing. But it's based in the individual, if you see what I mean. And what Peter wants to do is sort of take intersectionality, at least this is my perception of it. What I see Peter doing is taking intersectionality and going, oh, class fits everywhere. so whatever the phenomenon is, it's like, okay, well, but what's the class angle on this? Not is class relevant, or to what degree is class relevant here, or to what degree does class intersect with other intersections here? It's, let's look at this from a class perspective. And as we said, it's reductionism, but it seemed to me that is the big difference between how we were perceiving how intersectionality as a theory was being used or could be used. So that was it. That was my final thought. For what it's worth.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair critique. Yeah.
Yep.
I've said before that my critique is that class isn't the only thing that matters, really. Like it's not. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Clearly it does, but it's not the only thing.
And then there's some stuff going on between Kristiosity and Shu, but when I saw I was getting subtweeted or I got tagged into something, because I wasn't there for all of it, I just jumped in and went, well, I don't know what this is, but I do know that June said she was going to make some sort of apology video about her racism, and I was just wondering, when is that coming out? And then she blocked me. So I can only see the Kristiosity side of things. You should
complain about the freedoms of the peaches that have been infringed.
Honestly, I'm fine with her blocking me. If I get a whole bunch of trolls, I'll know she must be talking about me from behind a block, which is. But anyway, so I just thought that was highly amusing. So there's also a little bit of that going on, and I might actually go to I've already downloaded the Shu appearance on Vaush to see exactly what she said and to clip out exactly what she said she would or wouldn't do, and just put a little montage together with her racist hits from the past, and then her saying things like, "I look like a pony."
But she's cute and small.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
She looks like a gorilla, but I look like a pony. Oh, man.
Well, I'm glad you went there, because I thought for a second you were saying she looked like a girl, and I was like, whoa.
No, sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking about how I'm already editing it together in my app, and it's contradicting her talking about Leslie Jones looking like a gorilla and her looking. And then I'm going, yeah, that's racist, but not actually apologizing for it. So, yeah, as Orion says, Shu has moved on from being a fake right-wing grifter to a fake left-wing grifter. Yeah. True.
Not just that, but I suspect that a lot of these people, Joe Rogan included, I think, are secretly hoping that Bernie doesn't win, because they don't actually want like a leftist in the White House. They want to be able to complain about how, even when, like, I'm on the left now and the system is hurting me because they elected a different person. Give me money. I have no doubt that Joe Rogan is going to change his mind before November. I mean, that's just like the option that he wouldn't just didn't occur to me. Like, I was like, oh, how long is this going to last? Well, he said he'd vote for him in the primary, which, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what state. I don't know what state he lives in, but so we'll see.
California.
Yeah. I guess he could probably. Yeah, Super Tuesday's not that far away. But we'll see what he says after the primary. That would be. That might be interesting. As for can I just come back to the Shu thing? Look, I kind of keep giving her a hard time because she hasn't actually like amended for stuff. She's still as anti-feminist, I believe. She just doesn't talk about it, but she's not any more left that I can see. What I see is populist. And right-wing populism and left-wing populism, I mean, there's a reason why there's some overlap in the Trump-Bernie and that populism Venn diagram, because they're about like the corporate, being anti-corporate and being anti-war, right? So they're going to, and they're not party loyal. They're looking for people who want to be like, have their issues.
This in the same way, actually, someone mentioned in the chat, what's my logic behind that? It's the same logic that I had when I called Alex Jones's bullshit on supporting Trump, because he didn't want Trump to win.
It's worse for them.
Because that blows his whole thing out of the water. And he spent he spent the last 4 years trying to justify government encroachment on freedoms, which supposedly he hates and is terrible and awful, by saying, well, it's not Trump doing that, it's the deep state. So he's had to dance a really fine line.
Mm-hmm.
And even when he went against Trump, when Trump bombed Syria, and there's that famous clip of him going, "God fucking damn him," and basically saying, Trump was a piece of shit, and started to cry at one point, which was really peculiar. But he had to soon row that back because his fans of rabid Trump supporters were like, "This is disgraceful. This is outrageous. How dare you? You're a libtard." They as soon as you go against Trump, you're the devil, the devil, or even the devil. And it's the same. Again, it's just a hunch. I can't know anyone's mind, of course, but I suspect that they're supporting Bernie because, like you say, they're anti-establishment and they're anti-war, which is fine. Two positions I actually agree with. The point being is that what they're banking on, I think, is that they can shift over to the left because that's sort of seen maybe as a bit of fertile ground for them to go to, and they don't necessarily want him to win because the whole point was they did this last time when he lost to Hillary was then to say, "Oh, it's the establishment are terrible, blah blah blah. I'm this edgy cool guy on the outside. Mm-hmm. I support the rebels." Whereas actually, you latched onto something that you thought would be cool and you rode it for all it was worth. And that's fine in of itself, but be honest, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't pretend that you're now some big fucking lefty character when you're not. And it's disappointing that the left online have been like, "Oh yeah, she was cool now."
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that was easy.
Yeah, you get a pass on all the misogyny and the racist statements.
I'm done, by the way.
Okay. You can hear me, right? Still? Yeah?
Yeah, there's a massive lag, though.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be wrapping this up here pretty soon, I think. There was a pretty dodgy tweet that came out from Richard Spencer praising that Joe Rogan is exactly the center of American politics and exactly the type of person a working class political movement. Although I don't know the date on that. To be fair, I think it's kind of dodgy when people don't include the timestamp, so that could have been from any time. So I'm going to retract that one. I don't know.
It's from 15 hours ago, Kristi. What more do you need?
Well, it could have. I don't know. I don't check Richard Spencer's timeline. But anyway, that's the kind of thing that this one point I did want to make was.
But what I will say is, by the way, I don't think Richard Spencer is necessarily wrong there.
All right. That's your take. That's fine.
I don't think he's incorrect. I think he's talking shit because he considers his movement to be working class and he wants Joe Rogan to go to his side. But Joe Rogan, in terms of, like, most people are shit at politics. And I don't even mean that necessarily as, like, I'm so much better. I'm just a nerd. The point is most people don't give a shit about that. They listen to people like Joe Rogan. They watch fucking shit on TV. Just absolute crap. Those are the people you need. The people that listen to Joe Rogan are the lumpen proletariat.
All right, so
they're average people by and large. So he's not necessarily incorrect, albeit that he's still for shit.
All right, bringing it back to Shu, which was the topic, or Shu and Christiosity thing, whatever was happening. Just to wrap that up, I don't want to go on about it too much more, but I do want to bring it to a close. In that,
although, can I just point out, I don't mean
Kevin, you keep interrupting me.
I don't mean to say that Joe Rogan is centrist. When I say center, I mean like in the middle of like the populace rather than the middle of the political spectrum. Anyway, sorry, there's a lag. I can't help but interrupt when I don't know when you're talking or not.
Well, I get about 15 seconds in and then you start. So yeah, we got to end this pretty quick. But to finish up, when I see her like actually start to take back the things she said about Black Lives Matter being a supremacist movement and understanding why her gorilla comment was so incredibly offensive, and also talking to her fans about the fact that they defended her and they've said that those things weren't racist, and they were, and that she doesn't want to see that in her comments anymore because it's not right. They were racist and they shouldn't defend racist comments from her or from anyone. I mean, if she's really left, how hard would it be to make that video? It should be painless if you mean it. You know what I mean? Okay, now I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's fair enough.
Christiosity, do you want us to talk about it on air? So sorry, Christiosity in the chat, you can maybe see this, Kevin, said she can DM the tweet where I got involved You know, I mean, you're probably just offering me to look at in the DMs, so I'll retract that back because this lag is. Yes, Lauren's Southern. Yeah, that trash too. I'll bring that up. Don't worry. I got that video. I'll make it out the weekend. Okay, sorry. I said I was done, and then I kept talking. Christiosity said the exchange with her and Shu was, it's a bit interesting. Ooh, all right. Well, maybe we'll look at it and it can come back to some drama in the next episode. Okay, now I'm really done.
Am I allowed to talk now? Can I come off the naughty step, please?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, yes. So, yeah. Are we talking about Christiosity next time then?
Well, I think so because I can't actually pull the tweets up because I'm blocked by Shu. So I can't look at it from my side, and I don't think you. So yeah, we'll do this. Dun dun dun. To be continued. The next time. Was there one other thing I wanted to say about Shu? Something else? No.
Well, she'll have definitely made the video apologising by then.
Oh,
definitely.
I'm sure.
So
honestly, I will get off her back when she does what she said. What people keep telling me. Again, I haven't watched the whole Vaush thing. I'm gonna do like a search in the transcript for Gorilla and then go watch that bit and other stuff. But people keep telling me she apologized. People keep telling me she was gonna make an apology video. People tell and yet nobody can quote her and no one can give me a timestamp. So yeah. All right, whatever thought I did have in the back of my head is I remember it now. And that is about the tactic. Right? So having been in the Democratic Party for as long as I can remember, like I'm not in the party now since I've been in Europe, but basically as soon as I was 18 and went to college, I was involved with the Democratic Party and I worked with or for people who were Democrats elected in office until my 30s. What we do is, you try to find people who you don't know who share your opinions, and then you bring them in. Or if they kind of like don't know the issues, you give them your take and you give them some information, you come back, right? So you're basically trying to identify people in the population who are already either open to your message or don't, or would be open to your message if they knew about it, right? More in things. And what it seems, again, this is like chasing the great white whale. What I see this Rogan thing is it's sort of like, it feels like younger white guys who think that the way to get Bernie elected is to get other younger white guys and other white guys to vote for him. They're like recruiting within their own demo. They're not going across and meeting new people. And by doing that, they're not, because can I finish and then you can say. And instead of like finding like-minded.
I'll go back to the fucking naughty step then.
I just don't want to forget what I have in the middle of my thought. I have a point that I'm trying to reach and finish. It's like an orgasm. If you distract me, I just have to start all over again, right? So with that distraction aside, so instead of increasing the number of people who have or could share your opinion, you're going to people who kind of only peripherally share your opinions and have a lot of opinions that will really clash with the people who are already part of the party. And I think that what they're trying to, again, it's just like bringing a lot of people in from the outside is great, but it does matter because their values come with them. And that's why we try to find and educate people about how policies can benefit them and why you should support candidates who will do those policies for you. But, kind of going into an audience of someone who's got that kind of track record, I just don't think it's going to work out long term as a sustainable movement. Or if it does, it's going to shape the kind of movement it is. And now I'm done.
I just wanted to point out a brilliant pun in the chat.
Well, that definitely could have waited.
Taming of the Shoe.
You definitely did not. You did not need to interrupt me for Taming of the Shoe. As good as that joke was, it was on the screen.
No.
And it was going to wait. I'm so glad I didn't give in.
I did have to interrupt you for that because I would have interrupted God talking to say Taming of the Shoe because that's a fucking good pun. Thank you, HK.
Yes. There you go. Nicely done. And I think on that, yes, ruined orgasm is the worst fetish. Don't at me.
When it comes to orgasms, right? You can start again all over you like. I'm finished. I'm going to fucking bed. So you do what you want. I'm asleep already.
All right, and on that bombshell, Kevin's going to leave us all unsatisfied, and he's going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you have anything else?
Exactly. And I'm going to leave a snail trail on your sheets. So be prepared for that.
Tasty. All right. Oh, she was defending Gamergate. Oh, Kristi, yesterday you're gonna we wanted to end the show. Okay, so next time on the happy hour, Kevin has a message. First.
Of course, she was defending Game. She was a part of Gamergate.
Yeah, but I can't see all. I want to see all the tweets, and I want to pour over them and have
all right.
So, yeah. Also, it's a school night, and I got to get to bed soon. So it's 11 o'clock at night here.
It's 11 o'clock. I go to bed.
Yeah, we've been doing a show for 2 hours. I did have a break though, so that was nice. That was helpful. Hydration's important. All right.
So I didn't.
No, you didn't. You plowed right.
Hydration is important, though. That is true.
Yes. All right. So instead of complaining about how long the show is, how about I just end it? So next time, thank you, Kristi. We will invite you if you want to come on, maybe, and talk about it. I haven't asked Kevin. He might say no.
No.
Otherwise, we'll just go over the tweets and.
Don't need you, Boston types, bringing the tone down.
We'll see your. Oh, she deleted one. Yeah, I saw she said something and then she deleted it. Shoo and her deleting of tweets. I have the one she deleted saying that she wanted to blow up the Democratic Party and start all over again in Minecraft. Yeah, that's party building.
Yeah.
Oh, and also fuck Kevin.
No, I love it because I support the Boston team, so I'm being facetious.
Okay. All right.
I like Boston, apart from the racism.
Yeah, which I think we can all agree on is not wanted anywhere. Okay, so people should go check out Kristiosity's feed on Twitter. Go like all her stuff. I'm sorry, Carl disagree? Oh, I'm Boston. No, Baltimore.
With racism. No, with racism being not acceptable.
Oh, right. No, because that's basically his motto. Yes. All right. Kevin, you have a keck. In the near future.
I do have a kick. Friday night. I'm going to set it for 7 p.m. Although we don't have an exact time, but I think Mike will be all right for that. Cog won't be with us because education is important. Fucking selfish bastard. But he'll be back for next month. So join us for that. And I've also got the next episode of the Centre Manosphere. I've made significant progress, so I'm hoping to have that out the weekend.
Nice. Yeah, well, if Shu hasn't made that
what have you got coming up?
Yeah, well, if Shu hasn't made that apology video, I'm already slicing together her greatest clips. I mean, like I was sitting here earlier this evening, like just kind of getting it ready.
Would be out. She was probably itching to do it. She was probably itching to do it so badly that it's probably already out. She's released it while we were doing this stream.
I would be happy.
How much she wanted to apologise.
I would be happy if she released it.
Because she's so on the left now. She makes Mao Zedong look like a fucking centrist. That's how left she is.
Far left. Yeah. Cog
You've now
has
got 5 messages. I think I know who that 5th message is from.
Are you messaging me penis?
No, it's from Kristiosity, isn't it?
Well, it could be. Yeah. Oh, by the way, she said she'll come on the show, so if we can get
it's Kristiosity sending a dick pic.
To the group.
Sorry, go on.
Wait, no, there's no group of dick pics. By the way, she said she would come on. I would love to hear from her. The whole thing.
Yes.
So, okay, and also, Orion wants to say or tell Kevin, go Chiefs.
Yeah, kiss my dick.
Well, there you go. All right, well, thank you guys, everyone in the chat. It's been a pleasure as always to interact with you. Thank you for being my online Google, my voice activated search engine. Especially those of you who got the right answers. We appreciate you. Thank you to my co-host Kevin for being Kevin. Like the show would not be what it is without you, definitely. And
can I speak? Can I fucking speak? Can I speak for once, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Pulling a Carl here. Yeah, I've been Kristi. You guys have all been awesome. Kevin's been awesome, mostly, for the show. Thank you. Oh, by the way, we got a chat. I have to go back. Someone gave us money.
He hasn't.
No. Someone gave us money. I saw it and it flew right by, and I'm going to have to, like...
someone gave you money.
Chris. Thank you, by the way, Chris, with a string of numbers that make you look like a bot. But, Kevin, why can't BreadTube say F Joe Rogan? Before we leave, Kevin, the final question.
I think we've already been through this.
Okay.
Basically, we see it's the kind of ends justifying the means, and they only want to get Bernie elected regardless. Which, look, I mean, I want to get Bernie elected, but there are ways and means of that, and I don't think giving Joe Rogan promotion is a healthy thing to do.
All right, so officially answered your question, Chris. Sorry, I'm not used to looking for money in the chat. I saw it, but it didn't register because probably Kevin had interrupted me from saying something else. Okay.
Yeah, I don't look in the chat either because I've been demonetized. So.
Yeah. All right.
So seeing Carl moan about, they've demonetized my channel. How the fuck did you stay monetized ever?
Who was demonetized?
You piece of garbage.
Who was demonetized?
Carl.
Oh, yes. Oh, damn it. We have to talk about that too.
Right, guy.
Yeah, on his Akkad Daily, he made a crying video about how his main channel got demonetized. We have to watch,
And they're bumping me down in the Google search.
Oh, gosh,
shut up, you fucking prick. You earn $1 million a month on that whatever weird fucking Chinese fucking...
the Russian star. Yeah, a Subscribe Star or whatever it is.
Subscribe Star, yeah.
Some dodgy
where all
Russian
of your
location.
people's fucking information is like completely compromised. But whatever. Yeah. And you don't put any effort in. You don't deserve to get paid.
No.
You put in less effort than me.
At least you watch the news, Kevin.
Although, to be honest, having gotten back into the routine of editing Descent of Manosphere stuff, I do put a lot of effort into that shit. It doesn't necessarily look it, but trust me, it takes forever.
All right. And by the way, Wendy Nerd, she deletes her tweets all the time. She does that. She tweets something out, and then it causes a ruckus, and she deletes it. So, okay. Yeah. Did she ever apologize to Leslie Jones? No. That is part of the thing we are waiting for in the apology video that people keep telling us she said she would make. So, all right. Yeah. By the way, apparently Bomber Fox, who, by the way, has been doing play-by-play from the impeachment. I should have called this or shouted this out earlier. Thank you, Bomber Fox, for keeping us up to date. Alan Dershowitz argued that a quid pro quo involving a president's political benefit was fine because all presidents believe their elections are in the public's interest.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But that justifies dictatorship. Could you say, well, I'm going to take over forever because I think it's in the public's interest that I rule forever?
Oh my. All right.
That's the rationale behind it, you know.
Yeah, it's when the White House team doesn't have an argument. They're just trying to throw spaghetti against the wall. Okay. So we've what they're throwing at the wall does begin with S, but it's not spaghetti. Yes. There's been a lot of that sprayed all over the Senate every time the White House team opens its mouth.
Hey.
I would agree with that. Okay, so now that we've been going for well over 2 hours, thank you everybody again from the chat. Thanks to the Kev. We're really going to say goodbye this time. So
no, you've got to start that fucking sentence again. I'm not going out on that bollocks. Jesus.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a fun show with my host with the most, the coolest cat in the room, a guy who you don't want to get the wrong side on the wrong side of because he'll get out his little kitty claws. Kev. Was that better? All right, goodbye from me, goodbye from Kev. Say meow, Kev.
Meow, Kev.
He did the bit.
I did the bit.
He did, all the way at the end. Bye.